Well, let's get some analysis now with Alexander Titov. He's a Russia analyst and lecturer at Queen's University, Belfast. He joins us now from Northern Ireland. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor. Can I start by asking you about the EU's latest measures? As we heard earlier, they've announced the fourth package of sanctions targeting Russia's energy sector, the export of European luxury goods, also targeting individuals such as oligarchs and spokespeople for the Russian government. How effective will that be in terms of applying on the pressure on Vladimir Putin to hopefully end this conflict?
Well, I think the sanctions which were imposed in the first few days were the most dramatic on Russia. So the freezing of the central bank assets in the West and banning of all the servicing of the Western aircraft in Russia, and so forth. These sanctions are kind of just adding more incremental pressure, so to say. But the basic thing is there's a kind of fundamental rupture between Russia and the West in economic terms. Not complete rupture, because the oil and gas in particular are still being supplied and paid for by the West, by Western Europe. So yeah, those sanctions kind of adding pressure on the margins, but they don't change the overall calculus, which I think the Russian leadership is accepted it's happening and just have to kind of decided to plow on with the military operation regardless.
Well, that's right. And it's those earlier sanctions, as you mentioned, which were the most dramatic. Now they're looking to further squeeze industries in Russia, also squeeze those around him in Putin's inner circle. But they have had little effect. In fact, the conflict has only escalated on Russia's part. So why then do you think are the Europeans simply tinkering at the edges at this point?
Well, simply because they already imposed the most severe sanctions they could impose without jeopardizing their own core economic interests. So banning oil and gas would be severe economic shock to Europe, which they can't afford. Therefore, they have to resort to those kind of painful but marginal measures. So yeah, so there we are, and it's in the meantime, Russia, of course, is trying to adapt to the new economic environment, trying to develop links with India, with China. Turkey still is refusing to impose any sanctions on Russia and so forth. So yeah, there's a very kind of sharp deterioration in the Russian economy, but the kind of calculation is that they will survive it and readopt to a new environment and will continue their military operation all the same.
Meantime, Russian forces do appear to be tightening their grip over the capital, Ukraine. We've had attacks on Ukrainian apartment blocks in the capital there. What would you say, if you could hazard a guess, is Russia's strategy right now when it comes to Kiev?
Well, Kiev, it seems to be they're just trying to advance and encircle it. So far unsuccessfully, but the main focus is in the south, on Mariupol, and destroying the remaining forces, Ukrainian forces in the Donetsk and Lugansk republics in the south, which in Russia is this ostensible cause of intervention, is to, as they call it, liberate those republics from Ukrainian forces. This is the key area. This is the most important, the most battle-worthy Ukrainian forces. That's where they're concentrated. Once they finish there, I'd imagine they will have free up lots of extra troops by Russia to advance on other levels, including on Odessa, Kharkiv, and Kiev, which I guess will be the next few priorities.
Okay, Alexander Titov from Queen's University, Belfast. We will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us on TRT World.